Welcome to a new episode of Gamer Intervention, and in today's episode we are going to attempt to help a video game collector that is so addicted to collecting video games that he caresses them sexually without even realizing it. So let's get into today's episode on Matt AKA RetroWolf88 and his debilitating game collecting addiction. Matt AKA RetroWolf88 is a YouTuber, gamer, and most importantly, a game collector. He has been collecting video games for over 5 years now, and what started as a simple hobby very quickly devolved into an obsession, an addiction that is slowly ruining his life and degrading his health and relationships. He once bought 2 full game collections and then proceeded to roll around in them naked while moaning very loudly. So yes, it is a severe problem and he needs help fast. Let's talk to the individual who contacted us to set up this intervention, who wishes to remain anonymous for reasons he will explain.
So I'm the one who contacted the intervention program. I contacted them because I live in fear. I live in fear of Matt AKA RetroWolf88. I'm in so much fear that I have to keep myself anonymous for this, so he doesn't know. You know, when it first started, it wasn't too bad, but it just kept getting worse and worse. You know, every few months I would notice something more weird, like him rubbing games, and sometimes the rubbing of the games got really aggressive. But the point that I knew that I had to call them was, I was staying at RetroWolf's house, and, you know, I was sleeping in the game room, and I woke up to this strange noise, and I didn't know what it was. It was dark, I couldn't tell, so I switched the light on, and I saw RetroWolf humping a game. He was humping it and rolling around on it in the floor, and he didn't even know. It was like almost he was a different person. But the reason I knew I had to call was, what if he thought I was a game? Would he have humped me? That's my worst fear.
Now let's change gears and talk to RetroWolf88's mom, also known as Mama Retro. Mama Retro has been a guest on RetroWolf88's channel for quite some time, and now she has her own channel and she is very concerned for her son and his addiction. Let's hear from her now.
Mama Retro here. I'm here because I'm deeply concerned about RetroWolf88. I feel he's developed a sick addiction to video games. He needs help, and we're going to set up an intervention and try to get him the help he needs to end this sick addiction to video games. Well, I'm going to talk to him, and if he don't listen, I'll hit him upside the head, and hopefully that will come to an agreement of what and where he needs to do and go to help him with his sickness. He had 2 older brothers, really older brothers, 10 and 12 years older than him, who played games all the time. So he learned at a very young age how to play video games. I would say his addiction started when in his prepubescent, his teens or his preteens, his tweens, and his younger teens. We're at a point now where if we can't get Matthew to confront this addiction and get some help, his life is going to be terrible, because he's going to get so addicted to it, he's not going to want to do anything else. He's not going to want to work. He'll lose his home. All his fancy equipment will be lost. So it's all for nothing. He needs to get off these video games. Hopefully, RetroWolf88 will be back, a new guy.
So there you have it, folks. The stage has been set, and what you are about to see is very raw and real and disturbing. Will Mama Retro be able to successfully intervention with RetroWolf88 and help him with his game addiction? Or will he keep caressing games sexually and rolling around in them nude while moaning loudly? Let's find out right now.
It is such an honor to have an actual TV show wanting to tour my game room. I can't believe it. And you're going to love this game room. I put a lot of work into it. I think it's pretty badass, so let's go ahead and go in.
problem, and I'm here to do an intervention.
When I walked in that game room and I saw Mama Retro sitting there, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was just completely confused by the whole situation. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. What do you mean an intervention?
Well, you're probably thinking of how they do the drug interventions and save the people, send them for rehab, to help them beat their addiction.
Okay.
In your particular case, it might be hard to find somebody to beat a video game addiction, but you have a problem.
What?
You are so addicted to this shit, it's un-American.
What kind of joke is this? You got to be messing with me right now. Is it? Who put you up to this? Well, I'm not addicted to anything. What are you talking about?
We all felt that this was what we had to do.
Who is we?
Heather, Devin, and myself.
You know, I really didn't think I had a problem. I really didn't. I thought what I was doing was normal. I thought it was normal behavior. So, you know, when I was in that situation and being confronted like that and seeing someone else's perspective, it was very confusing for me. There were a lot of thoughts jumbled up in my head. It was very stressful. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't have a problem at all.
You have a problem, trust me.
You
have a big problem.
I don't have...
Anyway, get over here. Oh my God, that's sick. Stop now. What are you doing?
I'm caressing my games.
And you don't think you have a freaking problem? What is wrong with you?
I don't have a problem.
What are you doing right now?
What do you mean?
What are you doing right now? Let me see that phone. Oh my God, you're buying video games. $5,000 worth. You're crazy.
You know, the funny thing is, in the moment when that was actually happening, I had no idea I was even caressing the games. Like, I didn't even know I was doing it. It was almost like a reflex. It kind of makes me wonder what else I've probably been doing that I didn't even realize I was doing. Oh, and I also had no idea that I was buying a shitload of games on eBay. Like, it was almost like I was another person, but I was still me at the same time, if that makes any damn sense at all. Maybe I do have a problem. More than one.
Sit down on the floor now!
Well,
Down! In the floor. Sit.
I don't understand what's happening right now.
You don't think... Look at your room, Matthew. Look at your room. From ceiling to floor. It's covered with shelves full of stupid video games.
I'm a collector.
Yeah, but you have a sickness with it. You're addicted. You're obsessed.
Do you realize?
You're obsessed. You're possessed.
Do you realize how many people collect video games?
I don't really care about all the other people.
Okay, what about people that collect coins and people that collect...
I have never walked into a room and seen a coin collection plastered to the walls from ceiling to floor.
Okay, but
Anything
the difference
else?
is, but you know what the difference is?
No.
You can't play with coins. With video games, you can play them.
How many of these games sit in here for 5 years and never get touched? Tell me.
They're going to get played eventually.
You're lying to yourself and everyone else.
They're going to get played.
Hands off. Hands. I said hands off, Dad Bird it.
That actually made me mad because I actually do play my games. I play a lot of the games in my game room. Sure, I don't play them all, but no game collector plays all their games.
Caressing those video games are not going to change
the situation. They need love. Video games need love too.
They need to be played, but I guarantee you half of these games will never get touched.
I play a lot of my games.
Look at reality, man. You live in the real world. The real world, not the Mario world, or the Contra world, or the Zelda world. Live in the real world.
Okay, hold on. Okay, come on now, Mama Retro. I do live in the real world. I work a full-time job. I work hard and I make my money. I should be able to do with my money what I want to do, and if that means collecting video games, what's the big deal? I still live in the real world. If I didn't live in the real world, I wouldn't have a job. Well, this has got to be some kind of joke. This has got. You got to.
No, I'm really worried about you, Matthew. I'm really worried about you.
I do not have an addiction.
You do.
I do not have an addiction.
You do.
So RetroWolf88 honestly thinks he does not have a problem. I think it is pretty clear that he has an uncontrollable addiction. But just in case it wasn't clear enough, let's hear from some of RetroWolf88's friends and fellow YouTubers.
You're asking me if RetroWolf88 is addicted to collecting video games? Well, let's put it this way. The guy thinks he's a GameStop. There's no stopping him. He shops for video games every single day. Video games are more important to RetroWolf88 than paying his bills. I've had to loan him money. Everyone has had to loan him money. The YouTube community is concerned for RetroWolf88. He needs help.
We all collect things. You, me, the whole community, everyone is a collector. Wolf went a little overboard. He went a lot overboard. He has no room. Do you know that? Too many GameCube things. He's got 38 Donkey Konga bongos. They know his name at IKEA because everyone knows how bad off Wolf is. We all collect things. Wolf went too far.
RetroWolf. Yeah, he was always a good boy. A good pup. But he had issues. Some people would take, like a Game Boy with him places. He took the GameCube with him. He would take this thing to the dinner table. He would take it out to dinner. It got its own seat at the theater. We went on a flight one time. It got a seat by the window. Well, it does have a handle, though.
Oh, are we filming? Okay. Yeah, RetroWolf88. We've been good friends for a while, man. We first met through a comment on YouTuber of the Month, where he said that I look like Russell Brand. Yeah, real funny. But yeah, since then we always had a good relationship. Always keep in touch. Done a couple of collaborations together. But things just started to take a turn for the worse, and it was around about the time when he completed his GameCube collection. I saw this picture of him, and he'd made a throne out of all of his GameCube games, and he'd even made himself a king's crown out of, I think it was GameCube controllers. And that was the point where I thought, we need to get this guy help, man. It's not good. It's really not good. I'm actually worried for him now. Keep on seeing him pop up. We still chat. I try to play it cool. I try to not make a big deal. But we need to do something before it's too late.
RetroWolf88. Yeah, he's got some serious issues when it comes to game collecting. I mean, he's got hundreds of games about Super Mario. Who the fuck needs hundreds of games about Italian plumbers? And a little while ago, I took a big dookie, so, I clogged up my toilet. Of course, I asked him about it, because he's got the fucking plumber games. Turns out, he doesn't even know anything about plumbing. Fuck. That's messed up.
Dear RetroWolf, we've been following you for about 7 months now. And over that time, we've become increasingly worried about your GameCube addiction.
We are here today to ask you to accept our help and take this GameCube burden off your shoulders by sending us your collection so that you no longer have to suffer.
That's right. If you don't, we have no choice but to stop supporting your YouTube channel and cut ties forever.
RetroWolf, please accept this gift and give us your games today.
We just want to help you.
We're helping you.
Selflessly helping you. Your friends, Retro Rivals.
RetroWolf88's addiction is now undeniable, and his friends and family are terribly concerned for him, which I mean, the dude caresses his video games without even realizing it, so yeah, he needs help. Will Mama Retro be able to convince him of this and help him? Let's get back to the intervention and find out.
It's just wall
About what?
It's just wall
Representing. Get your freaking hand off those damn games.
But they...
Don't! Just get away from them.
Okay.
Okay, look. You gotta move away from the games. You got that. Here, get up. You better move, Dead Burn It. I'll slap you right in the jaw.
Now see, that right there shows you how violent of a woman Mama Retro is. She beats me. She abuses me. So maybe that's why I have this addiction, this addiction. Maybe that's why I'm addicted to collecting video games. Maybe it's my way of coping with the childhood trauma of Mama Retro abusing me. Also, she didn't really abuse me. I made that up.
Look at, does this look strange to you?
No, it looks like you're
Does it,
What was that? Mom.
does that look strange to you?
Mom.
Huh? Does it?
What is this? I don't have
Does
a
this
problem.
look strange to you? Huh?
I mean,
Does this look strange? Yes or no?
I mean, maybe a little.
Okay. Now, magnify that
Look.
by 15 times a day, 7 days a week,
Look,
4
everybody.
weeks a month, 12 months a year. And how many times are you caressing your
Look,
games?
everybody has fetishes.
I'll
Mom.
figure.
Everybody has
Look,
fetishes.
dude,
Okay.
we're not talking about fetishes. We're talking about addiction. And get over this. This is childish stuff. Childish. You're a grown man.
Okay, so this was the moment during the intervention where I finally started to realize that maybe, just maybe, I do have a problem. I think it was starting to slowly sink in. I think the puzzle pieces were slowly starting to come together in my very tiny brain. And I was starting to accept it and cope with it and come to terms with it. Maybe you're right. Maybe there are some games in my collection that I would never play.
Bingo.
There might be
Keep up,
some
keep
games
going.
in my collection that I don't care about that I would never play.
Bingo.
Okay, but there are still a lot of games in my collection that I do and will play. So, okay, so, all right, so look.
Excuse me while I wet my whistle.
I'm willing to admit, okay, that maybe I do have a little bit of a problem because maybe I shouldn't be collecting games that I'm never going to play. So, all right, so what about this? What if I do two things, okay? What if I do two things? What if I go through my entire game collection and pick out all the games in my game collection? Are you listening to me right now? This is
Sure
an
am.
intervention.
Let
You
me
should
do.
be-
Let me do two
Okay.
things. Let me look at my games and pick out the
No,
games.
listen.
Continue. I was listening.
Okay. So
I can do 5 things at once. Okay.
Let me do two things, all right? I'll go through my entire game collection. I'll find all the games that I would never play. Stop messing with my stuff.
What is this?
That is a bottle of Crystal Skull vodka from Dan Aykroyd. I drank it all.
What is wrong with you? You're an alcoholic, game addicted person?
I'm not an alcoholic.
You're a freaking
I
alcoholic
barely
with an
drink.
addiction to video games. Do you know that those two together are going to be almost impossible to overcome?
I'm going to go through my entire game collection. Number one, I'm going to go through my entire game collection. I'm going to find the games that I'll never play, that I don't care about, and I'm going to sell them. Okay? That's number one. Number two.
How many games is that going to be?
It'll probably be several hundred games, I would say. Number two, going forward, when I buy games, I won't buy as many, and I'll make sure that I only buy games that I will actually play. Games that actually mean something to me, instead of just buying everything I can buy. You know, I felt like I had a pretty solid plan for how to turn this addiction into just another healthy hobby. I mean, that's really what I was trying to do in that moment. I was trying to figure out a way to maintain my ability to collect without it turning into a full-blown addiction. You win. Okay, you win. I have a problem. I'm going to fix it. You win.
All right. If you don't, I'm going to kick your ass.
So after the intervention, you know, I was grateful for everything because, you know, I really did have an addiction, and Mama Retro, she did a pretty damn good job setting things straight. So now I have a solid plan. I have a solid path forward to beat this addiction and turn it into just a healthy hobby. But the thing is, I don't want to quit collecting. I can't quit being a collector because I love it so much. It brings me so much joy. So maybe it is like a drug. So maybe it has turned into an addiction. But I really feel like I can transition it from being an addiction to being just a normal, healthy hobby by following the steps that I laid out to Mama Retro. I hope you enjoyed watching that video as much as I enjoyed making it, because it was a lot of fun. And yes, it was a very over-the-top, tongue-in-cheek video, not to be taken seriously at all. Everything you just saw was just for fun. None of it was real. It wasn't a real intervention or anything like that, but there is a point to the video, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. The point of the video is this. I have decided to change the way that I collect video games. Because see, prior to now, I was basically collecting almost anything and everything, right? I was collecting games that I thought looked cool, games that are part of series that I like, games related to movies, you know, anything and everything, right? You know, there's a lot of problems that come with that. Obviously, you're spending more money on games. You run out of room in your game room, which is definitely a problem that I've been battling with. But, you know, I think the most egregious problem with that, and look, let me pause myself for just a second and say, if you're a collector out there that collects a little bit of everything, even if it's games you're not going to play, I personally don't have any problem with that, and I see absolutely nothing wrong with that, unlike some people do, which I've always thought is kind of weird. So if you collect anything and everything, even though you don't necessarily play all the games, more power to you. That's the way I was, so totally understand. I just, for the time being at least, I've decided that I don't want to collect like that anymore. So as a result, I'm changing the way that I collect. Going forward, I'm only going to collect games that I would actually play, or games that are very nostalgic or mean something special to me. So going forward as a collector, I'm only going to be collecting games that I will actually play. So when I'm out and about, if I see a game that I know I'm going to play, I'll probably pick it up. Or if it's a game that I'm not familiar with, I'll go ahead and jump on my phone and look up some stuff about it to see if it is in fact a game that I would want to play. So going forward, I'm no longer going to collect games that I don't care about or would never play. With the exception of for the GameCube, since I am a crazy GameCube collector and I'm trying to collect pretty much a little bit of everything for the GameCube. So as part of that decision, I've also decided to trim my collection down quite a bit. So I've been going through my entire game collection, every single console, my entire game collection, and I've been identifying games that I want to get rid of in my collection. And these will be games that I would never play, games that I don't care about. And I've done this for every single console. And there's just a little over 400 games that I've identified that I'm going to trim from my collection. That's a lot. That's a lot of games. So I had a lot of games in my collection that I would never play, and I'm going to get rid of those games. Now, how did I identify these games? Well, it's my own personal preference, right? If it's a game that I just don't like playing, that I don't find to be fun at all, it's gone. If it's a realistic sports game, it's gone. If it's a game that's just a really bad game, which would kind of fall into the category of I don't like it, it's gone. So I took it one console at a time, and I would look the game up. If it's a game I'm not familiar with, I would look it up, I would look at some reviews, and if I could tell from the reviews and or the gameplay that it's a game that I wouldn't like or I'm not interested in, I would go ahead and put it in the pile. If it's a game that I can't quite tell, I'll go ahead and pop it in a console and I'll play it for a little bit. So I kind of went through that process for each console, and it took a long time to do that. I've been working on this for several months, going through my collection to identify these games. So it has taken quite a while. Another thing that I identified are games that I have multiple copies of, in other words, across consoles. So I have a copy of it on the Switch and a copy of it on the PS4. Which one do I keep, right? In most cases, it was the Switch version because I can play it portably. So I did this with my entire game collection, and like I said, I identified just a little bit over 400 games that I'm going to sell, I'm going to get rid of out of my collection. I'm not going to give them away. I want to recoup some of my investment, right? And have a little bit of money to maybe put back into the collection to get games that I would want to play. But yeah, so that's pretty much the entire point of this whole video. I just turned it into a kind of a big tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top joke with the whole intervention bit. And I hope that you enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun to make. Hope it made you laugh. Hope nobody thought that it was real. So yeah, that's pretty much the point of this video. A fake intervention video with the ultimate message of going forward as a collector, I'm only going to collect games that I would actually play. And I'm trimming a lot of games out of my collection. I want to know in the comments down below, what kind of collector are you? Do you collect just anything and everything, even if you're not going to play the games? Or do you only collect games that you actually will play. So let me know that in the comments down below, and let me know why. I would love to hear what everybody's collecting preference is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. As always, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Later.
Because that'd be like an alcoholic saying, well, I tell you what I'll do.
look,
I'll only buy
okay, but-
the liquor that I like. I promise I won't drink tequila, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, and one
Okay,
beer.
but
Doing this when you walk in the
I'll
room
stop
like,
doing.
Hi, game room. I'm here with
Okay,
you now.
I will start developing.
Don't be scared, Mario.
Okay.
I'll take care of you, buddy. You too, Luigi.
Okay.
You little prick.
Okay. All right.
I don't want you to have a fetish period, you
Okay.
dumbass.
Okay.
You're a donkey. Where they have meetings where
They
you
don't.
can
They
stand
don't.
up and tell the group, yes, I started playing video games when I was 6 years old. And as the years went by, I actually became quite obsessed with the video games, and every Saturday I would have to, my mom take me to GameStop so I could get the game that I had pre-ordered as soon as it came out on the market, and I had to waste my gas after work to run him to GameStop to pick up whatever piece of shit game he ordered every Saturday. Think about something sad. Think about me dying.
That's not gonna make me cry. I'm joking. That was a joke. That was a joke.
You said
That was a
oh
joke.
my, I'm so glad I'll be dead and not know it.
That no, don't spray that in my eye. You'll make me
Not in
cry.
your eye. I'm gonna make it run down your
No,
face.
that's
Yeah.
not water.
No, it's got. Oh my God! You didn't cover up the Tennessee Volunteers. You forgot to put a towel on them. People who are addicted to everything. There are drug addicts. There are gamblers. There are sex addicts. Do I need to go on? There are pedophilias. Okay. They're addicted to sex with children. It's pretty simple.
Stop, Grandpa. Stop, Grandpa.
That's the truth. I watched the show Special Victims Unit. I watched Criminal Law, not Criminal Law. What's it called? Law and Order, SVU. I'm catching up. I'm watching 11 seasons.
All right, we're gonna have to start this over. No.